and
Pretty.
welcome back to another episode of the Quest Collective Behind the Dice. I am your host, Valdez, and with me I have. Probably I'm too far away to the microphone. Give me one moment. Ah. Alright, first of all, can my players hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright, so let me repeat myself. Welcome back to another exciting episode, probably not that exciting, of the Quest Collective Behind the Dice, where we sit down with players of either previous or current campaign and talk about, well, previous or current campaign. Where we also um, answers any questions that you may have about our characters or campaign. Um, and probably anything about RuneScape too, because I did recall someone wanted to know if they could ask a question on RuneScape narratives. But obviously, yes, you can. You can ask anything about RuneScape. And to let those of you know who are just joined now or joining in later on to watch this on YouTube, we will, or I will be probably adding more streams to be able to do a one-on-one talk with you guys. But until then, let's focus on the more casual stuff, which is our next arc of campaign one, which is, I believe, is something that I did. It's an alternative reality. Um, basically, hold up. Do we remember how we started? We started with the tower calling on us, or did we go to the tower?
What, campaign 1?
Starting the next arc, which was going to the alternative timeline. I
Oh,
don't rem-
right. Yeah, that's right. I think we went to the tower and they asked us to investigate a mysterious thing, and that's how we got sucked in.
Right. So, basically, for some reason, my thing is coming out unstable. I'm sorry, guys. Let me turn off the stream again because this is annoying the fuck out of me. Actually, no, wait. So let me ask this: can everybody hear me well and see the stream well? Is there any issue that you're experiencing at all? If there is, you can blame Steve for that.
Yes, I'm flicking the switch in the background as we speak.
Alright, so I see one of them saying no, there's no problem. I see someone else saying good over here. So I'm gonna assume the stream is good. Alright, so then just my stream manager is overreacting. I'm gonna assume is overreacting.
Hope
Alright.
it's nothing.
Yeah. Alright, so we began this arc with basically the party, which weren't given a name yet, were called to the Wizard's Tower to investigate a odd event that they experienced. One of their former apprentices of the Wizard Tower had somehow came back to life and tried to attack the tower with zombies. But when interrogating her, they found out that she wasn't from this universe, from a complete alternative one. So the group were sent out to investigate a rift and to report back to avoid anybody getting sucked into that reality. But it ended up sucking them in either way. So they ended up in a completely different world. A world where our main character from RuneScape was not born. Basically, it was complete villain takeover. Every villain won. Every evil supernatural event has succeeded. Whatever quest that we would do in the game would not be completed, or we would not have been there to stop it. So we basically were non-existent. So that's where they landed, a world ruled by villains. And so because of that, um, everyone in the party. Do you guys remember what you did first? Because I don't really remember what it was. I know we went either to Lumbridge or Draenor, or I think it was Lumbridge first, but I don't know if that was the first thing you did. Do you remember?
Actually.
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Yeah, I would say I think we probably went to Draenor first because we ultimately went to Falador afterwards.
Sumi is typing. Maybe he can shine some light to this too. All right. But yeah, it's like I do remember going to Lumbridge or Draenor, then to Varrock, then to Falador. But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it Lumbridge or Draenor first? That's where my confusion comes in. Okay, so according to Asumi, that what he said, we first went to Lumbridge to try to investigate what's going on. Yeah, so we first went to Lumbridge to see what was going on. Finding out the Lumbridge had been overrun by zombies. Complete undead. Oh wait, no, he just mentions it now. Okay, okay. You should have said this earlier, my friend. So they first went to the wizard tower to report the rift, only to realize that the tower had cut off all access to the outside world. The bridge was destroyed, and it basically was covered and barricaded. The tower looked battered, and it looked like it was having like a remodel. Um, Hints that dark wizards were taking over. So then the party had to investigate further and went to Lumbridge, where they found the zombies and everything. It was there when they learned that several events had transpired, even though it shouldn't have, like alternative universe and all that stuff. Basically figuring out, oh shit, we're in a world where this never happened. So they decided to try to help the city, to hope maybe they could find someone that could take them back home. Um, Remind me, did we meet David? Those of you who don't know who David is the um, helper of a quest caravan that helps keep the notice board neat. But did we meet David before or after we saved Lumbridge? Not before, sorry. During or after we saved Lumbridge?
I think I remember.
Yeah, like I said, guys, like I said in the last video, we it's been a long time.
Say that'd probably be the most thing. It'd make the most sense for us to have met him there after.
Yeah, no. So, according to Asumi, he remembers during, but it could have been after. So I'm gonna wing it and say that they met with David, someone that they knew, a quest master, a famed adventurer, who in their reality is a famed adventurer and all that, uh, but who also organized a quest notice board, and he is somewhat retired. So when they found him, they were surprised to see him in a different style of appearance and clothing. Instead of his usual adventurous appearance, he looks more rugged with leather armor, with some steel pad on it, and he's missing an arm. Murphy, correct me if I'm wrong, but during this time, Taunton was still thinking you guys were still in the main universe, or like you were like still things were normal, right?
I really don't know. I think didn't we notice we got sucked in at that point? so I'm not too sure if he remembered or not.
Yeah, I recall something around the lines of the like, oh hey, David, what happened to your arm? I remember
It
the
is, yeah, I probably confused David for our David.
like he went throughout the whole campaign going through the whole arc of just confusing the difference between this reality and the main reality where they're from. Um, so after they saved Lumbridge, because they had to fight against a cult of Zamorakians and the undead leader. I forgot. Do you remember the name of the undead leader, Steve? The one that we did with
It
the
was Dragafnern.
that name that I will never say again.
Yeah, Dragafnern, the guy who is a necromancer that's in the main game itself. So
Yeah. So yeah, for backstory on that character, he's a famous necromancer, and he. Oh, hold up! I don't think I have any music playing. Give me one quick minute. While I'm typing, he's a famous necromancer. Wait, was he a necromancer or was he a
yeah, he was
tower?
a necromancer. He was a necromancer.
Okay, yeah, then I was right. Yeah, so he was a famous necromancer who eventually died within the Lumbridge area, and he had his own catacomb where he was sealed. So a group of rebellious Zamorakians attempted to try to revive him. They basically had like a blood pact. Oh, that was the name of the quest. Blood pact. Huh, I'm an idiot. So, with that, the party completely decimated. The leader, the cult, the necromancer, and all of that, freeing Lumbridge from the oppression that it was in. After discussing with David, they've come to learn that this reality is not their own. And clearly they were seeking for help to get back home, which David knew because there was a resistance group, which name I've completely forgot what they were, but it was a resistance that was trying to reclaim Gielinor from the forces of evil. So, yeah, what was that, Steve? Sorry, you were going to say something?
I was making a joke to myself.
Go ahead, say it out loud.
The evil forces of Ganon.
You son of a bitch.
Um,
I hate you. Anyway, so they went on ahead and they went to Falador because Varrock. They first went to Varrock because that's where one of the resistant member was. Wow, this is a very loud. Hold up. Why is this so loud?
I turned it up on you.
I hate you. Anyway, so they went to Varrock because that was where one of their members were in. So after going to Varrock, they found the city empty, completely empty, corpse everywhere. There they met. It was Raldo, right? That's his name, Raldo, glasses librarian dude.
Yeah, that's Reldo.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to make sure I wasn't mixing them up. So there they met Raldo, the palace librarian, who was not turned into a zombie for reason unknown, and he was still alive. He informs the group that there was a hero that also came from alternative reality and saved the people of Varrock by freeing them from a necromancer's control. And as such, they were free. So during this time, I know everybody did different things. So what was it that you guys did during like our little pause between session? Because I know during that you guys stayed at Varrock and did something different. Do you guys remember what you did?
Yeah, I think Steve had done some hunting to help them get some resources and whatnot.
I cooked, maybe? I can't recall exactly. I think I cooked for the people.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, that does. Remember correctly, uh, I'm assuming your character Marcus, didn't he go with Samuel to to Mauritania? Yeah, while he answers that, yeah, if he does say yes, that because they do learn that Draenor was taken over by Count Draenor. Count Draenor is basically a sort of rip-off version of Count Dracula, but very weaker. We kill him in the game. Like in RuneScape, the game itself, we kill him. I'm sure some of you might know this, some of you might not. But we do end up killing Count Draenor. But in this universe, because we're not born, obviously he's still alive. Okay, so reading assuming statement. And hello, Diana. Don't worry, it's fine to be late. I understand it's the 4th of July. That's why we started a little early, so we can just finish 30 minutes earlier than what I originally anticipated. Okay, so one of the players who plays a character named Samuel went with Asumi's character called Marcus, went to Mauritania, a land infested with werewolves, ghouls, ghasts, and ghosts, as well as vampires. But when they make it to the main city of vampires, they notice that it was empty because the vampires had succeeded in their original plan. Again, this is going to be a lot of RuneScape lore shoved in you guys, so forgive me. But vampires in RuneScape are not undead. They're living creatures from another planet. And in the game, the last quest series of the Mariki, which was a story based around rebellions against vampires, oppression, we learn that the leader of these vampires, Lord Iroth Draken.
No,
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
Oh, okay. So Lord Draken.
Yeah.
Had planned to go on ahead and take the vampires back to their homeworld because he feels they're neglecting their true natures. So Steve, if I missed anything, please add on to it. I want to show them a picture of how beefy this guy looks.
Yeah. So basically, Lord Drakan was kind of one of those survival of the fittest kind of. I think what's the word for it? The ideology that only the strongest are fit to rule and whatnot. And so he essentially went back to Vampirium, the homeworld of the vampires, to essentially start devolving vampires back into more animalistic forms. And basically, as part of the River of Blood quest, the player essentially kills Drakan in part of a co-attempt with his sister Venescula. And so, because the player isn't there to stop him, Lord Drakan succeeds in essentially forcing all the vampires to return back, either to kill them or return back to Vampirium to become, I guess, more primal, if you will.
Yeah, so this is what a regular vampire looks like in RuneScape. Basically, you can see little skinny, bat-like wings and all that. Just that. And then we have Lord Dragon, who was 100% A for Alpha. And if you read the Fall of Hollowvale book, which I recommend reading, great book, you'll understand why this man was considered extremely intimidating. And like they said, like Steve said, we managed to beat him somehow. But here's what this beefy jerk looks like. Behold, the beefy jerk. I'm showing the picture of Lord Dragon in his not so beat up form. So as you can see, this guy was on some powerful magical energy, and yeah. So after beating him, vampires remained, and then that was another whole quest that we had to do to try to fix something. But in this reality, yeah. So because nobody was here to oppress him, or at least for his sister to get help to oh God, what's the word? To commit a
usurp him.
Yes, thank you. Basically, he succeeded with his plan, which ended up slaughtering nearly the entire population of humans within Mauritania. Pretty much almost wiping all of them out because he required blood magic to activate the portal to send him back to Vampirium, which is the name of the homeworld of the vampires. What else is there? Oh yeah, so the group went back. Others separated, which I don't remember entirely what they did when they separated. But some separated to go to other locations to see what they can learn about it. Others remained in Varrock, like they said, to get more supplies and look for supplies. So the reason why they were in Mauritania is because they needed to get the famous Blisterwood tree, which they did after reviving it. And they managed to get it to be able to use it against Count Draenor, who they predicted could probably be more powerful, considering that if nobody was there to stop him, he was there. So after pretty much going back to Varrock and basically resting there to prepare to go to Draenor. After arriving at Draenor, they confronted Draken, Count Draenor, he is a Draken, but he's like the
Front of the litter.
Oh yeah, he's like removed from the family, removed from the clan, and considered a coward. But remind me, I remember you guys had a plan, and it involved an explosion. How did that plan go?
If I have to guess, we probably blew up the ceiling on him at some point. Oh no, wait, hold on. I think we set the whole manor on fire. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. No, now I remember. There was this, like, underground furnace or something, and we basically filled it up with nitroglycerin, I think, and blew it up on him. So it was quite funny. For us, not for him.
It was fun for the group, but not fun for him, yeah. Although they managed to kill a shit ton of vampires, Draenor himself was still alive, but weakened. And if I remember correctly, in 2 turns, he managed to KO Hobrock, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It was like the first time that she'd gone down, like,
yeah,
in combat.
It's quite a surprise, really, but we managed to pull off a victory still.
Yeah, it was still a victory. It wasn't like anything that serious. He was still powerful. The group still struggled a bit, but they managed to beat him, get Hobrock to safety, and heal her, and then continue on with their search for the quest. Because even though they were searching through Draenor, they ended up finding out that the resistance there only knew that other of the resistance moved to Ascarnia under the Ascarnia mountain, which that's where the next location the group needed to go, which they went, and I believe they found out, remind me, was it that you guys got captured by the Black Knights, or that you found out that the person you needed, which was Doc the dwarf, the invention guild
Yeah, yeah.
master, that he was captured by the Kindra, which was why you had to like go to Falador.
I think it was a little bit of both. We had to go to Falador to find Doc, and then I think in the process we got caught.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, Asumi said it was a little bit of both. Yeah. Okay, then yeah, so yeah, they basically had to get caught to be able to go into the city, which worked, but it ended up causing a bit of a confusion with the new king of Ascarnia, Lord the Curious. I know I'm saying that wrong, but I don't really care right now. That
Lord
is
Aquarius.
Dark Quirius. He is
Yeah.
the leader of the Kinshra, a very honorable leader. And the Kinshra, aka Black Knights, are ruthless and evil, but somehow he doesn't seem to have that capability of being evil, that he is still a honorable leader, cares about his men, and also civilians. So yeah, when the group went on ahead and entered the city, they were greeted by the king, who demanded answers because he knew Asumi's character, Marcus, because Marcus was his bodyguard, right? Did I say his bodyguard or just like another elite knight?
I think it must have been Elite Knight, not bodyguard.
Yeah, Asumi said elite knight. So yeah, so he ended up being an elite knight, which surprised everyone, and even Taunton wasn't that surprised because remind me, Morphe, did Taunton assume that was Marcus' twin brother?
I think so.
Yeah, I think considering that we know Taunton enough, I'm gonna assume that it is safe to lean on he probably thought Marcus had a twin brother, even though he sort of knows that they're in an alternative reality. But after telling the king the truth, the king agreed to help them only if they did him a favor. Since he wants to make sure that the entire kingdom of Ascarnia is reunited, he can't do that because the druid village of Taverty and the Imperial Guard's home, Berthorpe, has been overrun by trolls. Mountain trolls, mind you, so because I know there's several different trolls, but we have mountain trolls that are the main antagonists. And so the group had to go on ahead and fight against the mountain trolls and help the army, push them off and possibly kill the leader. I believe this is where the group, the group together learned that Steve had a pistol, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you're gonna hear us say "I think so" a lot because remember, like I said, there's new people
I'm
joining.
old.
We're old and we don't remember shit. Give us a minute. But yeah, it was here where they learned about that. But yeah, the reason why I'm going through this a little bit quicker is because it was a really short arc. It was a really short arc. So they ended up defeating the troll general, and they ended up going back to the king and freeing Doc, who ended up leading them back to the old HQ of their resistance, and basically ended up opening the portal again, sending them back home, not after they were introduced by the person that sent them there. They learned that the rift was opened by a dragonkin that was corrupted by abyssal energy, who told them that he wanted to test the group's way of thinking. That he wanted to see if the group would stay on target to going back home, which they did, but he was only slightly disappointed that they didn't do it faster and that they focused their time on trying to save as much as they could. So, in the end of the day, he tells them that they're allies, that he's not an enemy, that he's an ally, and that in the future he was going to contact them or give them hints on where to go next. And just like that, they go back home, where, now the reason why I'm ending it here a little bit quicker, because I want to put out real quick that during this time, Murphy had his own little arc happening on the side, which was a imposter group that called themselves the Quest Collective. Murphy, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. It more or less started, I believe, with Gub and Desiree discovering that while the others had been missing for a couple months, I think it was, that there were sightings of each of the heroes out doing almost criminal acts or extorting people for money. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and then I think Sven took the main character spot for a little bit, where he infiltrated a tryout agency to become the imposter Samuel, where we learned the leader behind this imposter Quest Collective was a big two-headed man named Twin Gaze. The plot even went on a little bit after everyone returned, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was like right after everyone came back that we actually wrapped it up.
There were a few other parts. There was a part where it was, I think Sven again, where he was taken to court for being... What did he do?
That's right. I think he was using necromancy and Falador. And,
yeah, he got taken to court for that.
Yeah. Basically, long story short, that was a small side quest I did for him. Basically, he thought it was a good idea around White Nights to bring someone back to the dead with necromancy. And then basically...
And then proceeded to claim that he was a White Knight.
And it's just... Yeah, it did not go well for him, so yes, he was taken to court.
Where in court, his trial ended up getting interrupted by the imposter of our current companion, who was playing a monkey, which in RuneScape, monkeys are their own, like, race. But the imposter monkey was actually a giant gorilla who attacked the courtroom. And I believe Sven ended up killing it.
Yeah, I think so too. That's when we got introduced with two new players. One of them being a necromancer, and the other one being a Ilujanka, which is like lizard folks in D&D, but they're very different. They're capable of taming RuneScape dragons to ride them. Let's see, what else is there? I believe that was it. I think it was only them.
I think Desiree was there too. She was like an alchemist with explosives and stuff. I believe that was when she got introduced as well. So it was like Sven, Valkes, Desiree, Gub.
Yeah, like that's when we started getting more characters as well.
Mastema too.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say one of Steve's characters was there too, I believe.
Yeah, Is Mastema or Mastema?
Mastema.
Yep, Mastema it is. So yeah, we got introduced with Mastema, and
They ended up encountering a imposter of Varg at a point, where he turned out to be a ginormous ghoul, based on the ghoul champion in game.
Actually, yeah.
What?
Talking about the imposters, did you? If you didn't, can you list who each imposter were impersonating and how they were opposite from the person they were impersonating?
Yeah. Let's see if I remember them.
I remember that
was
there was Imposter Steve, who was a goblin, and it was just a goblin that I forget. Was it just a picture of Steve's face on it, or did he actually look like Steve Buscemi? Like,
shop Steve Buscemi's face on it.
yeah.
How do you
Had
do?
decided that Steve looked like.
How do you do, fellow goblin? Heads up for those at home. Yeah, Steve character. I think we spoke about this last episode, but his character does look like a bit like Steve Buscemi.
That is the recurring joke. But
Yeah,
yes.
he There was Goblin Steve.
Yeah, I'll show them to
Let's
them now.
see.
Give me a minute. Oh, continue.
Yeah, there was Avarg, who was the ghoul champion, and he didn't have a mind, so he was literally just a savage ghoul. Sven took the role as Samuel for a little bit. The monkey was a gorilla. I think how it started was they ran into. Oh, I think they ran into Marcus, Hobrak, and maybe Goblin Steve, trying to get a bunch of money from this caravan that they were supposed to be protecting. I believe, like, they killed, or Sven killed every one of them without questioning them. And later on in the thing, the final boss, right before they ended up fighting Twin Gaze, sorry, was Gonad's clone, which was a Chaos Giant, based on the Chaos Giants in game. So they had to fight him. I don't remember if I did a imposter Taunton.
I recall you did, but it was more like instead of it being a human, it was I don't remember if it was a hobgoblin, because I know I was gonna say ogre, but I remember the ogre was pretending to be Hobrock.
Yeah. I don't remember what I did for Taunton, if anything. But eventually, after they defeated all the imposters, they tracked down Twin Gaze and learned that he was a former hero. He was a very popular hero, I believe, and during one of his quests, he was unable to save a town from destruction, and one of the guards, or a captain, died at that place, and everyone blamed Twin Gaze, and he kind of fell out of popularity and started moving towards the dark underground, where he slowly rose up in that. And with the heroes missing, he took the opportunity to assume all their identities and have his henchmen basically just rake in gold for him. Eventually they got to his cave, where they had to kill Gonad, the Chaos Giant, and then take down Twin Gaze himself, which afterwards they ended up arresting him, and he ended up in White Knight custody.
Never saw him again.
He was foiled again. Oh yeah, that makes complete and total sense. But yeah, that was basically the little side story there. So yeah, that was his little side story that he did. that was really funny to watch as a dungeon master from the side. I got to read through that and it was fun. Um, it was really funny too how he did it, because I never expected him. I assumed that when he gave me the idea, I assumed that he was just gonna find like weaker versions of each character's race. Like Hobrock being orc, there was just gonna be one smaller and weaker. But no, he just gave it the most goofiest names. Like Steve Goblin over here. I'm showing you guys the image still because it's hilarious. But yeah, like that is one of the prime example of him going all out with his idea. Also, real quick, somebody did give us the redeemed drink water. So if any of you have water, drink water. I have water and beer, but I promise you I'm drinking water. Let me show you. If you heard that, that's water. I promise you I'm drinking water.
He's lying. Don't listen to him. It's all lies.
Don't do this to me. I thought we were brothers.
We're not brothers.
But we shared the same bathroom.
No, we don't.
Well, we should.
No.
We should share the same bathroom, Double D.
That sounds unsanitary, Ed.
Anyway, but yeah. So you guys go on ahead and start asking questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any question about the campaign or anything related to the characters. But real quick, as we're probably waiting for you, during the time, I had planned to, instead of you guys meeting the Dragonkin, now I'm gonna reveal this, and they're probably gonna be thankful after I tell you this. Instead of meeting the Dragonkin, you guys were supposed to encounter Sliske.
Oh god, why would you do that to us?
Because the idea was that Sliske got interested in you guys. New group, unknown out of nowhere, and incredibly powerful. He wanted to turn you guys into his undead servant. So you had to fight him to survive him and escape the reality before he figures out where you're really from. But I scrapped that idea because I thought about it and I thought maybe I could use him for another plot line. Which I still haven't figured it out, but I am thinking of bringing back Sliske from the alternative reality. Okay, I found a question, finally. Let's see. So this question is, what is your character like in the alternative reality?
I don't think we ever encountered Alternative Masterman. I don't think... Did we meet Alternative Steve?
Like, I guess the characters that were there, yeah.
Well, okay, so I guess one big difference was that Alternative Marcus was a Black Knight. That was a pretty big thing overall.
Yeah, like it was, like the backstory, Marcus can share it if he wants, but yeah, it's just Black Knight, not just the Kier Saradominus, Black Knight Zamorakian.
I feel like we did see alternate reality Steve.
Really? What was he doing?
I think he was still just a hunter. I can't recall, though.
I'm sorry, my hearing problem is catching up to me. What did he say alternative reality Steve was doing?
Hunting.
I believe he was still just a hunter, yeah.
Well, no, we never encountered alternative Steve. I think that was... I think you either might be confusing Steve saying that on last episode, or him saying that when we were talking about it, like, out of character.
Well, I knew Steve was a hunter. I thought we encountered him in there. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I can't quite recall. I'm pretty sure we didn't encounter Alternative Steve. So, but yeah, I guess if we were to encounter him, he probably would still be hunting if he wasn't dead. But yeah, I'm trying to think, because I think, yeah, we've met.
If we ever encountered alternate Taunton either. I tried, I believe, to get the group to go to the Fremenic lands, because I was like, I think the Fremenics could help us a lot in this situation if they're still alive, but no one ended up taking me up on that offer.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, we met your Taunton's alternative sister. Alternative reality sister. Remember, she confirms that the Fremenics were not completely wiped out, but dwindled in number.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think Alternative Taunton was dead.
That's right, he was dead. We met Taunton's sister at Barbarian Village, I believe.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, the sister was the one that told them, "Oh no, you were died. You went and because what happened was that he went and volunteered to fight with a hero of the Fremenic during the time to go on ahead and try to save the people of Varrock, but he died in battle while the reinforcements were in Barbarian Village trying to figure out what to do next, only to eventually be there and trapped there because they couldn't go back home because of the trolls, and they didn't have any means to go back home without encountering a large number of oppressions. Not oppression, of attack. Yeah, obstacles, like different obstacles, because there was the Black Knights. They didn't know how they would act, trolls, and then on the other side, apparently there's more patrols for another evil king that is patrolling has his guard patrolling the kingdoms. But yeah, in this reality, Taunton died, and I think we talked about it that he wasn't cursed in this reality. That was like a major difference between this our Taunton and this reality's Taunton.
Yeah, I don't believe he was cursed.
Which honestly is a plus, to be honest, because it would have been it would be a very different story. But yeah, Marcus shared that his character in this reality wouldn't be a Saradominist. Most likely, he would have converted to Zamorakian after some time in the past. Because the whole reason why he became a adventurer, a Saradominist adventurer, was because he was inspired by our player character. But because our player character doesn't exist, he basically stayed home and eventually became a bit too rebellious that he became Zamorakian. For some reason, Zamorak is literally for teenage rebellions. And he basically joined the Black Knights and helped them overthrow Falador, which ended up being run by Black Knights now. The entire kingdom of Escarnia, instead of it being a Saradominus kingdom, is now the kingdom of the Black Knights. And Hobrock, I don't remember correctly, but I believe she said that Hobrock would either be dead because of the constant infighting that would be going on with her tribe, or she would still be alive, but probably trying to rule her tribe. So in this case, since the moon would be taken over by the orcs and probably the fairy godfather still, I would say that Hobrock is most likely in this alternative reality, just like old school RuneScape, is trying to survive and most likely trying to form her own version of an orc tribe just to seek vengeance. Probably hasn't succeeded yet. Here's a question. So what happened to the people that they saved? That's a good question. Let's ask each one of them. What do you think happened to all of those poor souls that you saved on Draenor, Lumbridge, and Taverty?
Always try to eke out their own living. You know, like I mean, what can you really do in a world ruled by villains? Is probably slowly start to, you know, build yourselves back up, develop your community safeguards, and slowly try to make a better life for yourselves.
That sounds
Possibly
nice.
even like teaming up with each other, the liberated cities. You know, forming a trade network again, or maybe even a little army.
Yeah, I would agree with them. Marcus, assuming he's still type. Okay, he said he thinks that everybody's dead. Damn,
Wow, aren't you a bucket of sunshine?
a bucket of sunshine and rainbows, aren't you? He adds, if you think about it, if the Resistance tries to recruit people, there's a good chance that they recruited civilians, and they would have gotten their ass handed to them by the Black Knights if they try to overthrow the Black Knights. He's not wrong, but
Yeah,
damn,
they
aren't you a bucket of sunshine?
Yeah, they would have worked up to that eventually. They wouldn't have gone directly to fighting the Black Knights. They would have first started to liberate other areas, then they would go to fight the Black Knights once they had an entire army to just basically lay siege to Falador. To redo the Siege of Falador. Go to fight the Black Knights once they had an entire army to just basically lay siege to Falador. To redo the Siege of Falador.
Hold up. Something's going on. Oh, that's what's going on. You guys are hearing echoes. I'm sorry. That's because I accidentally unmuted my stream on my stream manager thing. So forgive that echo. But yeah, so you get a reminder. They don't need to go to Falador. So DM perspective. Or DM's final word, hammer down situation. Yeah, I would say that they got to live on. I would say that the Resistance split into two. Some of them decided to go to Varrock and try to reform civilization there, calling it New Avarrock, instead of keeping the old name Varrock. I'm not calling that. But yeah, so they're calling it the original name Avarrock, but slapping new in the beginning. The other half tried to see if they could reclaim Falador for the good of good old Saradomin. But I would have to agree they most likely got imprisoned and enslaved or died a brutal death right there on the spot. But I'm gonna be the bucket of sunshine here and say they're just imprisoned or enslaved. At least they're given work. But yeah, so please continue asking questions. By the way, just to let everybody know, there is gonna be about a 6-minute in before an ad starts. And I know we don't have a subscriber yet, so we will be waiting for you guys. But if you have any questions real quick, ask away, keep asking, and we will answer them when you come back or right now. So come on, hurry up, think of a question. Keep asking, and we will answer them when you come back or right now.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I'm sorry, a woodchuck what now?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
The woodchuck would be dead.
Disgusting. Can't even just have some fun, man. Just gotta shit on everything. I won't forget this.
Oh, we got a question. Okay, why is everyone dying? Good question, Asumi. Why is everyone dying? That is an excellent question. I want Asumi to answer that. Why is everyone dying? He said because he's just being realistic. It's not something that he wants them to die or anything. It's more so that because the reality is meant to be a reality that I'm assuming is what this is why. It's because the reality is meant to be a reality of villains win. Where, like, obviously they're not going to last long because everybody's lazy. RuneScape, every NPC is lazy. Oh, look, we can send an entire army to try to deal with this one specific shit. Nah, let's just look for a random adventure and throw them at the problem, you know? So it is understandable. Like, it is realistic, but yeah, like he said, yeah, I was I hit the nail on the coffin there. But yeah, no, it's basically one of those situations. Any more questions? You got 4 minutes before ad comes in. If not, you have the whole ad break to fucking figure it out. Oh, actually, wait, we do have another question. How did the Kinshire wins? The Black Knights, good question. Um, so there was a quest in RuneScape called the Black Knight Fortress. In that quest, we had to sneak into the fortress and try to sabotage whatever plan they had against the White Knights. Um, so that is what I'm assuming happened because technically, if you did the quest after they redid the quest, because they reworked the quest, you still mention that situation happening. But that's not what happens. So basically, because we weren't there, our player character wasn't there to sabotage the plan by throwing cabbage into a fucking potion. The Black Knights most likely became Super Knights with steroids and proceeded to basically dominate the White Knights, and not in the fun way either. Yes, exactly. They basically cheated. The Black Knights cheated, but let's be honest, they're Black Knights. They're not, you know, the Knights of Holiness and everything. They're the Knights of we're gonna fucking fuck you up. Putting it lightly. Um, God. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that was the old Black Knight's fortress, right? Just basically sneak in, throw cabbage in the cauldron.
Yeah, that's the old school one. So it's still like that there.
Yeah, in old school RuneScape, but not in RuneScape 3. RuneScape 3, they completely reworked the quest, but we can, like I said, if you've done the quest before, the rework, you actually mentioned doing that, so it is still canon to the player character's history and timeline. Uh, you got 1 minute, so I'll try to answer this as quick as I can. What of this reality's gods? Are they dead? Um, good question, good question, good question. So yes and no. No, they're not dead, but yes, they're still around. So they couldn't really do anything. because of something that happened in this reality that is completely different from our current reality. In our reality, they were evicted from the world, and a barrier was placed around the world to keep them from entering the barrier, from entering the world. In this reality, something else happened. Guthix, the god who created the barrier in our reality, instead of just making the barrier, he beat up the gods and siphoned their divine energy off them and weakened them to the point before he evicted them out as a warning that the next time they stepped in his domain, he was going to kick their butt. And ad is starting now. I'll continue later. Okay, the advertisement is done. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed whatever the advertisement was, and I'm very sorry about the advertisement as well. I can imagine how annoying some of you are about it. So I think Steve is still BRB?
No, I'm here.
Welcome back, Steve. But yeah, so made it back right on time. So we got two questions. I'm guessing not everybody has any questions right now, or they're just trying to listen but can't type or whatever. It's 4th of July, so I understand a lot of you are probably doing something different. It's perfectly fine. So one of the question is, why scrap the Sliske idea? Honestly, if I'm giving an honest answer, the reason why I scrapped the Sliske idea is probably because of the fact that I was thinking of ending it quickly. Like, I thought, hey, if we added Sliske, it would be cool. But I thought about it real quick, and I thought, this is an original character from Jagex. And I don't want to overdo it with his boss design. And in this reality, he's doing something else. He's busy doing something else. While I do understand that he could have just saw the group and said, hey, I'm going to do something with them. I decided to just keep that to the side for now and use him later on. Because I just didn't want to touch that area yet. Not yet. I do have plans to touch him. Okay, that sounded wrong. I do have plans to use the character later. But not... I decided not to use him now, you know? So it was going to be like sometime later in the distant future, you know? Can I stream that too? Like using the character? Obviously! Like when I finally use the character, I am going to use the character 100% right when we use it. Sliske will return and he will give the most fabulous performance. Isn't that right, defenders of Gielinor?
First of all, it is a terrible Sliske impression.
Oh, that's the whole point. I can't even do the Sliske impression. I'm not Maud Raven.
That sounds like a skill issue there.
Oh, fuck you. Oh yeah. Well, here's our perfect Sliske impersonator.
I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but I think I can do a decent job mimicking his tone of voice and general attitude.
Alright. So the next question is, are the RuneScape gods like D&D gods? No.
No, definitely not.
I'm afraid not, yeah. So, the gods are gods, obviously. They're powerful, they're strong, they're immortals, they're divinity. But they're not D&D gods. Like, for example, we have Bandos, the god of war. He's not war itself. He's not someone who needs to be alive to keep war happening. And when he died, spoiler alert, he dies. So when he died, war didn't stop. War continued. Now you can come under the impression that maybe there's another war god out there on another planet. Sure. But that's not the case for this one. In RuneScape universe, gods are not the alignment that they are. They're not the god of something literally. That's just their belief. For example, Guthix is the god of balance. Now, it doesn't mean he's an entity of balance itself. It's just he's a god that views that balance is power. So with that, they're not like literal entity of a philosophy or of a belief. They're like a teacher of that belief, where they believe that belief and they stick by that belief. I guess another difference between RuneScape God and D&D God is that D&D gods don't really have a body. They're more celestial, astral type of thing. That they have a sort of body, but that body is like in a different level of a plane that they have to use like an avatar to be able to talk to or like telepathically connect to you. In RuneScape, that's not the case. They are physical beings. They used to be mortals that ascended through to various means. So they're not they're not created out of nowhere. I mean, you can become a god in D&D by several different means, which I'm gonna let Steve explain the difference between the ascension part because he knows a little bit more on D&D stuff than I do. Take it away, Steve.
Not really. But basically, the vast majority... There are two kinds of, like, gods you can think of in RuneScape. There are the Ascended Mortals, and then there are the Elder Gods. The Elder Gods made everything, and then took a nap for a millennium before they blow up the world again. Whereas the majority of RuneScape gods tend to be various different kinds of mortals who have either come into contact with one of the Elder artifacts, have steeped themselves in the world energy and stuff, and or have actually like killed a god. I don't know that much about D&D gods, but from what I have gathered, a lot of them do just come into existence as just kind of or concepts of different ideas. And if they don't, they usually then take the role of a god like that. So that's my understanding of D&D gods. So there's some overlap, but for the most part, the gods in RuneScape are not they're not perfect beings by any means of that sense of the word, and they're definitely not like, what's the word? They're not like inherently divine. Like, RuneScape gods are not that. They gain their divinity through their various different means.
Yeah. There are two gods that are inherently divine, which is actually to answer the question there, because one of the questions I was waiting for you to finish was, so the other gods did not create the gods for universal means? No! There is one Elder Gods that did create gods, but the reason for that is I'll get to it in a minute. So the Elder Gods are giant space worm that created the universe in order to create food supply to hatch their eggs and then have their eggs slowly eat the soul of the world, which is called the Anima Mundi, which I should spell it is ANIMA MUNDI, which now we shorten it to anima. But basically, the anima is life itself, and worlds can generate anima. So for the other gods, anima is food source. So when they create a perfect world, they lay their eggs in a location to protect that egg, and then the egg starts slowly feeding off the nutrition to be able to start growing in there. So once the eggs hatch, the Elder Gods basically have to mentally transfer their mental state into the eggs so they can come out with all of the knowledge that they previously have. But doing so makes them incredibly hungry afterwards. So they have to go on ahead, is a rinse and repeat. So our universe is basically the last cycle of the universe. Because there's been thousands of them. There were originally 4? Well, how many Elder Gods were there originally? 5 or 4?
There were originally 5 Elder Gods. Then Ma was born deformed by some mysterious being or energy. We don't know what exactly. But then there's the 4 main Elder Gods: Jaws,
Do you think you
Bull,
can save them?
Vic, and Win.
Well, who
Are you
said
sure?
that? Who said that? Anyway, but yeah, like you said, there's Jazz, the leader of the Elder Gods, the oldest one also. She is supposedly associated with sand and time. Then there's Vic, the goddess, the Elder God association with nature and plant life. Then there's Win, the Elder Goddess of cold, winter, and ice. There's Fool, an Elder God associated with earth and lava, which I guess you can also add fire into the mix. And finally, there's Ma, an unknown goddess, an unknown Elder God, but apparently her role was crucial before her state. Supposedly, she was meant to ensure that life, like sentient life, did not happen. But because of the fact that she was corrupted, while her egg was corrupted, leaving her into a state where she's still a baby and late to being born, life in this universe started happening. And previous also. The Dragonkin are from the last revision, of the last cycle. So the Elder Gods themselves just left their sister, went to sleep. Their sister, Ma, was feeling lonely because technically she had the mentality of a 3-year-old. And she went on ahead and created 2 gods, 2 divine beings, like actual gods themselves. Well, they weren't gods by name, but they're divine beings that are basically linked to gods in power. One of them is Zeros, and the other one is Siren. They're both basically the opposite of each other. Zeros is basically darkness, while Siren is light. Basically, these are the only instance of Elder Gods actually creating the gods. But not just for a universal means, but because she was lonely. One thought that she just wanted them as toys, while the other thought, like I said, she's just lonely. But yeah, like the universe basically runs the same way as it runs in real life. Except for the cosmology of it. Like, obviously, the planets aren't really rotating the suns or anything. Well, they are, but the way that the universe is, it's just weird. It's wibbly wobbly and almost all over the place. I don't want to go into that much of detail. But basically everything still works the same in our reality. There's still time, the passage of time. There's still decay. There's still death. But the death part is a little bit different. Because technically there's no afterlife. So we mortals create the afterlife when we die. And then a Grim Reaper is born. Which isn't the concept of death itself, just more like someone to be able to reap the soul out of the body and gently take them to the afterlife. So that's basically it. Everything works the same. Excuse me. Except on Gielinor. Gielinor was a very, very, very special place. And the reason it's because of the Elder Gods' eggs. Them suckling on the Anima Mundi obviously was a big role to why that planet was very unique in a lot of ways. But yeah, so the Elder Gods are the most powerful beings on the universe until recently. But in the end, they aren't like they're creator of the universe in the sense that they create the planet. They created the planets and the planet's resources, plant life, and animal life. But that's it. They didn't create the universe itself. There is a theory that there is an elder gods, but a lot of people can literally assume that that elder god is basically us, the developers, the dungeon masters, or the players that gives the idea to the developers. So in other words, congratulations, guys, we're the elder god.
Yes. We're a god. And how can you kill a god? What a grand intoxicating innocence.
Haha, someone said with a spoon. But you heard that,
will
Steve.
Try. Yeah.
Well, you guys heard him. You will try. Go ahead. Hunt him down. I don't know where he lives, but I'm pretty sure you guys can figure it out. I'm pretty sure it's 1, 2, 3. Go fuck yourselves. But yeah. Hold up. Is somebody outside my door? No, there's not. Okay. But yeah, we have about 3-4 minutes left, so you guys, there's only room for one more question. So if anybody want to post in a question, quickly go on ahead, and I'll go on ahead and read it out loud. Oh, here's a question. When are we returning to campaign 4? Good question. Steve?
When I feel like it.
Oh, you heard the man. When he feels like it, we're gonna be stuck in chaos takes the world. Nah.
Forever.
Oh no.
On a more serious note, minor spoilers. We're entering a new phase of the plot pretty soon, so we will be progressing things quite quickly for Chaos Takes the World, ideally. But yes, so once, yeah, I don't plan to make Chaos Takes the World too long, but yeah, it's a process, you know. You can never predict how long it'll take, especially if you have to factor in people's schedules and important plot points that you kind of want people there for, and you don't want them missing out on very important things.
Exactly. So it should be probably sometime this month, or hopefully the beginning of next month.
You're overthinking. You're getting ahead of yourself there, Chief. I'm not that fast. Not yet, anyway.
Alright, so probably next year.
Yeah. I'll try not to rush into it, but I will be working to try and get some progress. I don't plan to have too much filler, if you will.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so that is the last question right there. So thank you guys so much for watching. A lot of you came in, a lot of you were here. If I could count the total, I believe it was a total of more than 10 people that jumped in and were watching, and are probably still watching, because I know my stream says unstable, but I'm gonna assume the unstability is the live part, where how many people I get to see online. I gotta fix that soon, so hopefully tomorrow it doesn't really give that much of a problem. But yeah, so we're gonna go now. thank you guys so much for watching. You have been great supporters. Thank you for giving us the answers. Like I said, this is going to be a buy or try weekly, unless we end up not doing a session on a week where I want to try to make up what we lost. Be aware that possibly next week or the following week, I do plan on putting up another live stream where I either play RuneScape or Boulder Gate, and like I said, having a one-on-one conversation with you guys where I will answer anything related with RuneScape or my homebrew items of D&D. So until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye!